Well, as you can see behind me, it's sunny outside, although it was freaking cold this morning, 32 degrees. But the sun is out today, and G and I spent a little bit of time kind of perusing the antique shops, and didn't find a whole lot though. But it was fun to look. It was fun to look. And so today I thought I'd give you an update on what progress I've made, Stitchy Kindness, and also do a little stitch along and chit-chatting. I bought this basket here at TJ Maxx because I got tired of all my project bags sitting on the floor over there, and so I decided to get a little organized. It has been a blessing having all of you out there, and I love all the comments that I've been getting, and I'm trying to get caught up on those. Every few days I do a comment afternoon and catch up and answer any questions. Other than that, it's been just kind of a wait, and this is kind of weird, huh? Got my stitching. I'll just turn that off until we start stitching. There we go. Or I could spotlight myself. Ta-da! So, what was I talking about? Totally off the wall now. But I've been doing a little bit of stitching. I have been, let's see, I think I might have already showed you this. I haven't done any more on my little Korean people. I haven't done any more on that. As far as the Wizard of Oz, I have some questions. I'm bringing it over to you to show. So I used a little bit of Krynic in the tornado to give it a little bit of dimension. And then I used this red Krynic for the witch's shoes, because if you remember in the movie, and that's where I am coming from, the house lands on the witch, and the red shoes are on her feet, and then Glenda the Good Witch makes the shoes come off her feet and go onto Dorothy's feet. So I decided to give the Wicked Witch the red ruby slippers, because that's how I remember the story. But I was watching Floss Tube, and it was, I think, Country Stitchers. They were talking about Krynic, and she said that you peel it apart. I used one whole strand, so I'm not sure. You know, it came in this little tiny, I thought it looked like if you peeled it apart, you would lose some of the sparkle. And that some of these strands, yeah, I don't know about that. So do you, on these little Krynic, and this is 10, it says 10M. Do you peel that apart like you do your floss, you know? Okay, so this segment of the Stitch Roadies is, we're going to educate Anna. I have lots of questions. So that's how I want to know about that question. Krynic, all about Krynic. Got my Dot Dot Goose project bag, and I have my Caddy cross stitches, little project. It says this is a winter Santa project. I put the winter snippety in here. And what I have discovered is that I need a snippety in every project bag. So I'm going to order 3 more snippeties, because when Marion sent me 3 snippities, I realized how convenient it is. Do you see how the floss is stuck on there? How convenient it is when you are working on a specific floss to just roll it up and stick it in there instead of having to put it back away. So I want to have a snippety in every project bag. Yeah, I do. And then I got a really good suggestion from my friend Robin, Pocket Robin. So here it is. I'm coming over there to you now. Here's my project. There's Rudolph. And then, I guess if I block the light, so then I did the reins that connect all the reindeer. But you see, I haven't unstitched Santa down here who's upside down. You know, happy hour was a little bit happier than usual for him. But she told me, don't take him out yet, because you might not have to. This might be big enough that you don't have to. I'm thinking I'm going to have to, but I'm going to go ahead and leave him in there for a while. He's kind of fun to see upside down. And now that I have totally got the concept of a working copy, oh my gosh, on some of these projects, that has really saved me some aggravation. Now the Sleeping Bee by the Blue Flower, I definitely have a working copy for that. Not real big, but there was where we're at. I maybe should turn the light on. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to keep working on that Sleeping Bee. On 40 count, it's not like something that's going to get done really, really fast. But I love having this basket. And this was, oh, that one's the one that I'm doing on Instagram, the motto sampler. And then I got out my birthday start. And see, I love having that snippety by Caddy Cross Stitches in there. And if you remember, my birthday start was Harvest Blessings. Harvest Blessings by Stony Creek. I just love that. I love that. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun only having one color thread when you're doing a lot of changing, especially with the little Korean people, because I don't have to think about the thread switching. And this is with Fallen Leaves by Classic Colorworks. But I decided, I made myself a whole working copy so that I wouldn't have that line. You know how I was worrying about that line? Well, after I started it, I realized that I don't have to worry. I wouldn't have had to worry too much on this with this line because it's so broken up. But I like that it's going across, and you know, that I'm getting a fuller picture of this. See, you can see the oh, I got it sideways. No wonder you can't see it. See, here's my pilgrim is starting to show up here, and this is the turkey head starting to show up there. So I started working across this way. And there's my little needle minder that was made for me by Stitch Goes My Heart. So I'm enjoying kind of moving out a little bit rather than having that distinctive line here. But I did get a few stitches in there. I did all of this up in here, and I finished a little spot down here. So this is getting worked on. And I feel like, it makes me feel like I'm going to get this project done before my next birthday in October. Because then I can have a new birthday start. Before I talk about the project that I'm going to stitch along while we chit-chat, I wanted to show you this wonderful, Teresa sent me this pattern. Is it not beautiful? It is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And does it say? Let's see if it says who this is by. It's Terry Fleckney. Terry Fleckney. Wow. Wow. So I haven't decided what fabric I'm going to use, but thank you so much for sending that. I absolutely love it. It has a real botanical feel to it, and I know when I get home I'm going to kit that up. Mea culpa. Oh, Woody's a whiny dog. He whines at everybody who comes by. But mea culpa, mea culpa. I fell hard. I almost am ashamed to admit this, because I have so many journals at home. But I bought another journal. It's the 2020 Ray Dunn journal, and I decided that I'm going to use it just for cross stitch. Now we'll see. We shall see whether this gets filled out or not. It's going to feel fun momentarily when I do all the filling in initially, and I feel so smug because I'm so organized. And then you know, month 2 or month 3 comes along. You know what I'm talking about. And you stop doing, you know, the journaling, or you stop balancing your checkbook. Yeah, it's like, it happens. You have such high hopes. I have such high hopes. Gosh, look at me. You know, that's the thing about getting older. You know, I'm lucky in one respect, in that I have quite a bit of gray, but it doesn't show up the same way. It's kind of interesting. My mother, when she passed away at 81, wasn't 100% gray. So I think it's going to be a while. But what is happening to my hair, you know, is I used to have long, dark, silky feeling hair, you know, half Asian. I got that nice hair. But as you get older and your hair starts going gray, it's like you have pubic hair coming out of the side of your head. I mean, I have this kind of wiry gray hair that I absolutely don't know what to do with. It just seems so it is like crazy. It's like crazy. So today, as we talk and stitch, I am going to grovel and explain what I'm doing. So I am doing all 9 of the Frosty Forest. This is by Country Cottage Needleworks, and I started with the Raccoon Cabin. And here I am with the raccoon cabin. I'll bring it over there. And I'll stand in front of it to block the light. So here I am. So now I'm down here where I only have to do the white. And I'm doing all 9 of these on the same fabric, so they'll all be together. I saw it connected both at Acorns and Threads and at Stitcher's Paradise, and I just really loved it being all on one fabric. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to frame it. The thing that I have a question about is not the size of the linen. I had Acorns and Threads figure that out for me, but I can tell that I am going to run out of the bobbinated white that I put in with this project. I had asked Acorns and Threads to kit it up for me a few years ago, and then I never got to it, but I told them I already have white at home, so don't give me white. Well, it turns out I only have a little bobbin of white here, and I am going to run out of this little thing of white. So does it make a big deal to switch whites in the middle of a project, or will nobody really notice it? You know, I hear people all the time talk about, oh, you know, you don't want to use white, you want to use B52. That sounds like an airplane. Well, some other kind of white. And so I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue for me, or does it really even matter? Because snow is not all the same white either. So leave me a comment below and let me know. But right now I'm kind of working across on the snow, because that's all I have left and of this particular block. So here's my rationale. I had said that in 2020, one of the things I was going to do was start a new project on the 1st of every month. Well, I'm thinking that it's like a crazy thing. You know, it's like a crazy thing. So what I decided to do is to actually take this project, which I now have a little knot in it. This project has 9 little square, there's 9 blocks, and they're all absolutely adorable. You know, there's 9 of them. So what I'm thinking is that I'm going to start one of these every month. And that will be my new start for the 1st of the month, because then I can, boy, I just kind of made a mess here. Then I can get this project done. There we go. Rather than starting a whole new project. Each one of those is a new start. So my new start each month will be actually a Country Cottage Needlework Frosty Forest block. But that is somewhat of a dilemma on the one hand, because that means I really do have to finish the block I'm working on before I can add another block. You know, so I wonder how doable that's going to be for me. Do you think spit makes floss thread better? I wish I had brought my thread heaven. I wonder if that would make a difference. But here we, and then I found this out yesterday, is that I must be cheap about floss too, because I want to use it down to the very nubbin. I will actually put my needle in where I want to anchor a thread off, and it's not long enough to do it, and then thread it at that point so that I can use the last bit of thread. That just seems okay. I need to get over that one. I'm using I have my Magnolia Baby Creates needle minder with the ice skate on it, because these are frosty patterns. And I only brought the 2 Q-snaps, the 11-inch Q-snaps. So we'll see. Carolyn commented, I think it was in my last video, that, you know, like December's a Christmas month, giving month, and November's a thankful month because it's Thanksgiving. Well, January, which I didn't know, is selfish month. Selfish month. So January is a month that it's okay to be dang selfish. Because it's selfish month. Selfish month. And I still am trying to catch up on my floss tube viewing, and I mean, there's some, it's so weird. Like today I discovered that I was not a subscriber on Michelle Bendy's floss tube, when I could have swore I was, but then I was noticing that I wasn't seeing her on my subscription list. But I talked to her, but then I realized, well, that was on Instagram, so what the heck is going on here? And so I subscribed. Okay, I'm going to, there's, let me just show you. I'm going to come up one more time. So that's, there's about 1.5 inches of thread left. So I'm going to go back down. I'm going to just end it there rather than try to get it down to 1/4 inch and be okay, even though I don't have enough white. And all the stitching I've done, I still have lots of room in my Ort container. But because I don't have a caddy cross stitches for this project, I can't keep track of my thread. So I went ahead and subscribed to Michelle Bendy's floss tube, which I already thought I was, and watched her and been catching up on the ones that I missed, which I'm not sure how that happened, but now I'm catching up. I watched the Flossmas, but I don't know how I could have seen all the Flossmas come up when I wasn't a subscriber, but that's the thing. So please double check that you're a subscriber, and I appreciate it, and I love all the comments. I also this week watched Stitchy Witch 42, and she is into, see, this is a scary part for me, is that I don't want to try anything new because I barely have time, and I knew it was going to happen, and it did this week. When I posted my last Stitch Roadie video, it ended up on the Quilt Roadie site, and as hard as I tried to figure out how to move it, I couldn't move it. And so that tells me that I need to not add any more to my schedule, that it's obviously a little bit out of control, and that includes adding any more things to be passionate about. And when I watched her talk about her junk journaling, which you'll have to go watch her last video, I actually broke out in a cold sweat because I thought, oh, I don't want to try anything else. I don't want to do needle punch. I don't want to do anything. My plate is totally full between quilting and just plain old cross stitching. But I'm wishing that that's Stitchy Witch 42, would open an Etsy shop for her junk journals. Because I have no problem buying other people's crafts. I just don't want to do it. And because they are fascinating. And her whole story about coming across from England, her dad was in the military, was quite fascinating. I am, I wonder if you know about exactly what, when people say I'm looking for my unicorn, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that there's something special that they're trying to look for, or they want, and they can never have? Or exactly what does that mean, that something is their unicorn? I kind of got the sense that it's something you're looking for. So what I am looking for is, whoop, I got a little knot. Let's see if I can get it out of there. Oh, fudge, I'm going to have to unthread this, get that knot out. Okay, so what I am looking for, if anyone can find it for me, I know one of you have got to be able to know where I can get this. I want, and then also, is this what a unicorn is? I want the Cross Stitch and Needlework magazine from January 2015. I saw the cover of that and I fell in love with it, and but I can't seem to find it anywhere. So if any of you know someone who wants to get rid of their piles of magazines, and they have a January 2015 cross stitch and needlework, needlework magazine, I surely would love to purchase that from them. It's the one where on the cover it's a blue and white scene with deer and snow. Yeah, so I'm looking for that one if anyone has any idea where I can get it. So now I'm moving down here and I go 2 out. I like getting to the point where I can just mindlessly stitch. We love to be mindless. So what I have discovered about snow is like houses in cross stitch. They look like they should be easy and simple to do, but in fact they take a ton of time. I mean, it's a ton of time to do snow, and it's always a ton of time to fill in houses. So I'm going to start a new one of these each month if I finish one. That's why I'm working so hard to get this one done. And I'll get this done because we still have a couple weeks and before the end of the month. But I have a very, oops. Yeah. I worked in the OR. You never want to say oops. But it's okay in cross stitch. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. This is a even weave, so it's much easier. And I don't have to use the magnifier. I say that is with such confidence. And the light is amazing. These LED lights, this is a Britex lamp, and it comes with a base and a clamp. I am using the clamp right now on my table. I didn't realize how amazing these LED lights were until I came up, and I have an OT light that sits over by the couch. When I sit there and do my wool stitching, it almost looks like the light is like a yellow dim color. I've gotten so used to this bright oh, I love it. This even weave is amazing. So are you all starting a new project at the beginning of each month, or are you just working on whips? There's all kinds of groups out there. I really want to be part of What Whip, but I have a feeling that it's already full because, you know, it's like, the announcement was put out like a month ago, so that's kind of late. But who knows, maybe it'll happen for me. I'm hoping that that I get to the attic. Did I tell you I'm going to the attic later this month? And I really want to, and see, this is the thing, when you see something, if you watch a Floss tube channel, if you don't stop it and do something right then, you lose it. And I cannot remember who I was watching. All I remember is I loved the sampler they were showing, and that the pattern was not going to be released for 2 months. And I'm thinking that's in February. And I have no idea who said that, what floss tube it was on, and the name of the pattern or anything. I should have. It's like you need an iPad or a tablet next to you so that you can take notes when you watch Floss Tube. It's kind of funny to stitch this because that little raccoon is just staring at me. He is staring at me like, come on, hurry up. I want you to move next one. I've never done a sampler, so I thought it would be kind of fun, and I really, when I saw this one, I said, oh, I'm so gonna do that one. I love that one. Well, now I don't know which one I loved. I don't know who designed it. All I know is it's a new release. It's a new release. Oh, I just remembered something. It's a new release at Nashville. I don't know what that means. So, I'm going to maybe have to convince G to drive to Tennessee. That ain't gonna happen this year. That is so not gonna happen. My little raccoon. Wonder what I'm gonna name that raccoon. He's kind of cute. Yeah, my friend Jen Kingwell, you know, she lives in Australia, and they've had those horrible, horrible fires, and I know I've said this before, just the thought that they're telling people to go to her beach town where she lives to be near the water when the fire comes, that just seems so surreal. Of course, you know, Paradise was awful. A whole town lost in California. But there are a lot of ways that you can support the Australian fire effort, and if you go on Bendy Stitches does a whole little video on her latest video. She explains a lot about the different Etsy sites that when you buy the chart, a certain amount goes to fire relief, you know. And as I'm looking at this little raccoon, I can't help but think about all those poor little koalas and you know, little kangaroos. So yeah. It's getting closer to my Sue Spargo class, and so I'm looking forward to that. I have a lot to do in the stitching front, but I mean in the quilting front, I should say. So it's challenging when you love it all. When you love it all, yeah. I already have things in wish list charts, or, you know, carts. Wish list carts. No, the carts are when you want to buy it. The wish list is separate. Yeah. I was lucky enough that I was able to go to the West here in Tucson. I told you about this before. The West is a non-profit retail shop for needlepoint, cross-stitch, embroidery, wool, gift items. It's just a lovely, lovely shop, all run by volunteers. But when you buy something there, you don't pay sales tax because it's a non-profit. Is that not a win-win? You're helping someone, and you don't have to pay sales tax in Arizona. So, I'm not sure if I told you this or not. I might have, but I kitted up the Suffrage Act, because I want to do that along with Stitching with Sisterlies, but the problem is I can't start it now because I have no project bag for it, and I'm telling you, I need a project bag, otherwise it's going to be a hot mess. So yeah, so until I figure that part out, I'm not going to be starting that one. But it's all kitted and ready to go, which is fun, and as long as I get it done before November, that'll be even better. But Mm, my little raccoon. He's really cute. And the other thing about this frosty forest is that these are not the colors I usually stitch in. You know, I'm not a blue or aqua color scheme, but I really do love how this is looking. This is going to be totally out of my box, but it is so darn cute. So darn cute. And hopefully I'll find out what that sampler is before I get to the attic, so I can see, is it conceivably something they have, and then I can add another to my list. You know, I already, because of Stitchy Kindness that has arrived here, I now have 3 charts that I can take to the attic and kit up when I get down there. But we are still somewhat stuck here because of our parts issue with Winnebago and Camping World. Yeah. Can't wait till that gets resolved so we can actually hit the road. Well, I think I've bored you enough, chit-chatted enough, and I hope you have a lovely day today, and that you got some stitching in, and that you're organized, and that maybe, where is it, maybe the next time you'll see that I have things written in my cross-stitch journal. It's not as cute as the junk journals that Stitchy Witch 42 made, but we'll see how it works. Thank you for hanging out with me. Hope your week is going to be a fabulous one. Hope the weather gets good wherever you are, and that you have a lot of stitching in the near future.